Welcome to the Flavors of Belize cooking show. I'm your chef Carolee Chinona, and we're on the beautiful island of Ambergris Caye being hosted by Sandy Point Resorts. Today we'll be preparing Salbutes in one of the private villas at Belizean Cove Estates. For viewers at home, you can follow us on page 13 of your Flavors of Belize cookbook. So Salbutes is your typical street food. It's very affordable, and it's just corn based, which is based off the masa, and that's just ground corn into this dough. So I have water here, about 4 tablespoons or so. And we'll just take a little ricotta just to dilute it. Okay, so now this is fully incorporated into the water. And we're just gonna add it gently and very slowly, a little at a time, because we don't want to add too much liquid or else it'll be difficult to fry. So we'll just add a few tablespoons at a time. And just go ahead and work it in with your hands. It's your best tools. I'll just add a little more gradually. All right, so I'll empty this out so we can knead it a little more. You don't need to flour your surface or anything like that. And it's just so that all the little pieces can be fully incorporated now. So we're gonna take all of this. Okay. Okay, so I think this is good enough for now. Just until everything is incorporated, it starts to form a ball, and you can just pick up the strays. Okay, so this is fully incorporated. And now we're just gonna section this off into a few tablespoons, just so that we can press it out on our tortilla press. So I think that's good enough. Roll it into a ball. And that's one. So we're just gonna continue doing these. Okay, so I think these are good. And we're just gonna put our masa aside. And then we're gonna take the tortilla press that I spoke about earlier. And I like to use 2 pieces of plastic, but you can use parchment paper, you can use wax paper, whatever you like. And you wanna put it in the middle of your plastic, cover it with another piece, and then just gently press down so that it's flattened evenly. Perfect. And if it sticks to 2 pieces of your plastic, that means it's too wet. So just add a little masa and then get it back to the consistency you like. Okay, so these are ready. So we'll just cover these until we're ready to use it. We're gonna heat up our oil later, but first let's get started on our chicken. So we'll put everything aside and just put that out. Okay, so here I like to use boneless chicken breast just because it's way easier to shred and it cooks really fast. So we're just gonna season it with basic salt and pepper. And then I also like to add a little cumin just for color. I like to brown mine first, but you can always poach it in some chicken stock or water. So generous pinches. And black pepper. Just remember to season it well with salt and pepper, and then you can always add after. I'm just gonna finish seasoning with oregano, which is the most important in Salbutes. It's the most prominent spice and the only spice, in my opinion, that you need. So I'm just gonna add a little dried oregano. You can always use fresh. And then we're gonna add a little more to the broth after it's cooked. To that broth, we're gonna add some onions as well. So red onion. So we're just gonna cut this in half. Not too thin because it's gonna cook down, remember, in a little vinegar and the chicken broth. And you don't want it soggy, so just a little thick. We have our hot pan. I just put a little olive oil down. And we're gonna just sear our chicken. Just to get it browned. Okay, so this looks about done, and we're just gonna remove it from the pan because we wanna cook our onions in here, and then we're gonna set it aside so that we can shred it to top the chicken. And some of the chicken just gave off a little juice, and all of these brown bits are great for the broth. So now we're just gonna Add our onions. And we just want to cook this until tender. Not going to caramelize it. And the vinegar acts as a deglazing agent. So all those beautiful brown pieces of chicken that was left behind, this vinegar is giving it some sort of like a leavening agent. So salt, black pepper, and a big generous handful of oregano. Also gonna add some sliced jalapeno peppers. Fresh is always welcomed, but canned or fresh, it doesn't matter. So just gonna let everything get warm through, mix in the spices, make sure it has enough broth. Okay, so we have our oil that's really hot. So we're just gonna take our pre-made salbute and then we're gonna drop it right in. Literally like music to my ears. And all those little bubbles, that's perfect. That's exactly what you want to see. Just so that is what makes a salbute a salbute. This little, and that's the reason why we added the baking powder, because we want to see it puff and we want it nice and golden. So this is done. And I just have a paper lined plate. We're gonna let them drain there. So let's plate 3 of them. And these are like little nests at this point, perfect for our shredded chicken. Just be generous. Pack that on. Don't be afraid to use your hands. Okay, perfect. And then we're gonna take our onions. They still have a great texture to it. Not too tender, still have a little crisp, even though they're a bit pickled from the vinegar and the chicken broth. And a nice touch of spice, thanks to the jalapeno. Just like that. I like to pile mine high. And then to plate, I like fresh tomato wedges, but I know people always do cheese or, you know, diced tomatoes, shredded lettuce, whatever you want, cabbage. Perfect. So now we have our beautiful and super simple salbutes, street food at home, which you can make from your Flavors of Belize cookbook. If you don't have one, please go get one on Amazon.com. Don't forget to follow us on our social media, as well as our lovely hosts and the Point Resorts. Thanks for watching.